The Tetons have always been one of my favorite ranges in the country. There's a gravity here, something that pulls you in, even when you don't fully know why. They're geologically young, but nothing about them feels unfinished. The lines are jagged, the snow lingers, and when the weather turns, it doesn't hesitate. You don't just end up here by accident. This is a place you have to seek out, especially this time of year. The roads are still thawing. The forecast is mostly a guess, but maybe that's part of the draw. Over the years, this range has carved its way into the imagination of the American West, inspiring paintings, poems, and quiet kinds of courage. For me, it's more than just a favorite view. It's a place I come back to when I need to feel small again, and every time I return, it asks a little more of me. I made the long drive out of Colorado's mountains, winding through the passes and descending into the open prairie. The further north I traveled, the quieter it all became. It's easy to forget how empty this part of the country is, mile after mile, with not a rest stop in sight. There's a point somewhere past Rawlins, where the horizon just falls away. That's when the vastness really hits you. If I were dropped in the middle of this prairie, with no gear and no help, how long would I last? These are the kinds of thoughts that come to mind on long drives. This stretch of southern Wyoming traces parts of the old Oregon Trail. I imagine what it must have felt like back then to move forward without any guarantees. But then, almost without warning, the Tetons rise out of the ground. It's something largely tectonic, a break in the crust. They feel alive and possess a commanding presence. There's a creative charge in the air here, as if the range is still shaping the landscape. I've never seen a silhouette like it, and no matter how many times I return, it always feels like the first time. I'm out here in northern Wyoming, dispersed camping for free in Grand Teton National Park. This place is incredible, and this has got to be one of the most scenic spots that I've ever camped at. And I can't believe that I get this whole place to myself for free. For today and tonight, I'll be out here enjoying these amazing views before I decide what I do tomorrow. It's early June, and the mosquitoes and bugs out here are relentless. I just put on some bug spray, so hopefully that'll control them a little bit better. These views out here are amazing, but I can't fully relax out here like I can in Colorado. I'm officially in grizzly bear territory, so I have to keep an eye out for any potential bears coming my way. I have my bear spray close by. It does expire next month, but we should be good today if we have any encounters. Now let's cook a good breakfast that'll wake up the bears. This is so good. These eggs taste so much better with the new stove, and I also think it's enhanced with this view. I mean, I could be eating a protein bar and this would feel amazing. As awesome as this new stove is, I totally forgot butter. So everything is really sticking to the pan. I should also be getting a new pan soon that is ceramic and food won't get stuck, so I won't be spending all my time cleaning. But yeah, totally forgot the butter. I was planning on making some steaks as well. That might not happen. We'll see. This stove is 4 times as powerful as my Coleman. Each burner is 20,000 BTUs. In my Coleman, each burner was only 10,000 BTUs. That's a lot of power. I can't wait to put this stove to good use. Being alone in this section of the park offers a unique perspective. With no crowd noise or voices echoing off the hills, there's just open space. The quieter you become, the more this place begins to communicate. At first, it's subtle. The brush sways, and birds pass low. But then, something in the air changes. What had been a clear sky moments ago starts to change. Slowly, steadily, almost imperceptibly at first. The clouds don't arrive all at once. They form in layers, as if the mountain itself is exhaling. Watching it all unfold before me feels almost alive, mesmerizing, as if the Tetons are breathing weather into existence. The wind picks up, and the light dims. Before I know it, the storm rolls over the peaks, fast and decisive, as if it has somewhere to be. And I am out here in it. There's no cell service, and no shelter beyond the van. It's just me, exposed to the full force of the elements. Nature doesn't need to prove anything, but sometimes it arrives to remind you that you're not in control out here. You never were. That illusion disappears quickly once the clouds close in. But somehow, that's the part that keeps bringing me back. I love witnessing something larger than myself move through, wondering how it might impact you along the way. Out here, clarity shows up as perspective. No matter how much you prepare, you're still just a guest in the house of something ancient. Maybe that's the point, to be reminded that not everything is meant to be static and unchanging. Some things like weather, wonder, and change are only meant to be witnessed in the moment. I was outside watching the clouds roll in, and I was just so surprised at how fast these clouds built up. I could literally see the clouds and rain forming over the mountains. I'm really glad that I'm safe and protected inside the van because there's a lot of thunder and lightning outside. But no hail this time, so that's great. I find it really calming to watch all of this weather and these storms roll in.
The wind was northwest at 18 miles an hour, gusting to 30.
I didn't expect to feel this calm. After the storm passed, I sat in stillness with no sense of urgency. There was no rush to move. It was as if I was experiencing a blank canvas of quiet. My mind wasn't occupied with much at all. So much of life revolves around anticipating what's next, or reacting to what just happened. But out here, after the storm, none of that felt necessary. It was as if a part of me could remain in that silence forever. Just being in that moment was incredibly relaxing. And I felt the contrast, motion giving way to stillness. Honestly, I was caught off guard by how beautiful that experience was. It's rare to feel like nothing is pulling at you. No second guessing, no pressure to perform for anyone else, just you. It was a moment of pure beauty amidst chaos. Sometimes, I think that's why I return to places like this. The storms help me gain a greater perspective. For there to be calm, there must be an acknowledgement of the tension that allows for release. The storm can be seen as a physical manifestation of the tension that we carry within all of us. And by recognizing this tension, we can better appreciate the calm that follows. And for a few hours, nothing is required of you. A moment of peace in a world that constantly demands something from us. The storm that passed through today is finally gone, and wow, that sunset was just incredible. I mean, that just didn't feel real. That was just magic. That lighting was just phenomenal. I managed to get a few shots of the light beams coming off of the mountains. I can't wait to see how they turn out. This place is a landscape photographer's dream. It's like every time I go and look at these mountains, I can never possibly capture all of the variable dynamics at once. It's no wonder why people like Ansel Adams came out here to do their work. It's just magic. Not gonna lie, I still haven't gotten used to the fact that there are a bunch of grizzlies around here. It makes me nervous, and I honestly don't know how much sleep I'm gonna be getting tonight. I've taken all the precautions that I can think of. I got all my loose food sealed up in my fridge. I've got all the doors locked, all the windows rolled up, and I'll be sleeping next to my bear spray, just in case. It's just something I'm gonna have to get used to because, unfortunately, there's a ton of beautiful places out there that have grizzly bears, and I want to go to them. Overall, really glad that I came here again. Haven't been here since 2022. First time I'm sleeping in the park tonight. Can't wait to get out there more tomorrow and explore some new places and see what nature has to throw at me. I think I'm going to try to get some sleep. Good night. I did not sleep well last night. Being in grizzly country keeps you on high alert. You hear every twig snap and every breeze against the van. It's not hot at night, but I decided to keep the fan on anyway and tried to pretend to not hear anything and just embrace the cold. In the quiet of this morning light, the same breeze that kept me awake feels like a kind of welcome. Somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a quiet awareness that this place doesn't belong to you. But maybe that's part of the unspoken agreement when you step into land like this. It's an agreement between you and the land. You'll tread lightly, and in return, you might witness something sacred. You can't control the outcome. You can prepare, respect the boundaries, show up anyway, and hope for the best. As uneasy as the night might have been, mornings like this make it all worthwhile. That's why I came here. I enjoy being humbled by places like this. It takes courage. Sometimes it's just about staying put when fear tells you to turn around. Deep down, you know the discomfort will be worth it. There's risk out here, but there's also risk everywhere you go, and in everything you do. There's something deeply satisfying about waking up in a place that doesn't conform to your plans or your pace. You adapt. You pay attention. Your senses are heightened. Slowly, the fear gives way to reverence and respect. The more time you spend in the wild, the more it stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like a truth you've been missing in your life. I don't think you ever fully conquer that fear, but maybe that's not the point. Perhaps it's about learning to move with that fear anyway, and not letting it hold you back. It feels like I'm following an energy, something delicate and sacred that I don't want to lose, an instinct that still knows how to be quiet, to pay attention. Something is healing about movement when it isn't focused on the destination. Coming to places like this reminds me I'm here. I'm alive, not just existing, but aware. But the road can wear you thin over time. Even wonder can fatigue you when you forget to stop and rest. When everything becomes motion, you lose your grip on what stillness is. Without stillness, you stop seeing. I think that you need both. That's why I've learned to pause before I try to move again. I want to notice what's already here, and not just chase what's ahead. Most of us are taught to outrun silence, and to confuse motion with meaning. It's not always a comfortable or natural thing to do. Out here, you meet yourself in the quiet, the cold water, the rising wind, the calm before the storm. I used to think that peace was something found at the end of the road, but now I see it as something within you if you're willing to let go. Let the landscape set the pace, rather than your plans. There's no finish line, just layers of letting go. And letting go doesn't feel like surrender anymore. It feels like returning to something real, something I forgot I needed. There's something about leaving a place that has changed you. It feels like a continuation, as if something inside you is still catching up. And maybe we don't need to be on the road to feel this way. Perhaps what we really need is balance, to find places near or far that allow us to see with fresh eyes and arrive with open hearts. This isn't just about crossing places off the map. It's pursuing a feeling, a quiet knowing that you're getting closer to the version of yourself you've been trying to reveal. Out here, it's about what you're carrying now, in your breath, in your stillness, in your pace. That's the gift of places like this. They invite you to slow down long enough to remember what truly matters, and it changes you in the process if you're open to receive it. I used to believe that fear was something I could outrun, something I could leave behind as I ventured into new or challenging territory. I thought that if I challenged myself enough and stayed on the road long enough, fear would eventually lose its grip and quiet down to a whisper. But over time, I've come to realize that fear is not something that can be easily escaped. It is a constant companion that is with us all. It lurks in the shadows, especially when the sky turns a deep ominous black in the middle of nowhere. I feel it creeping in when the van shakes violently in the wind, my imagination racing with thoughts of a grizzly bear or some other unseen threat just outside my door. Fear, as I've learned through countless experiences, is not a sign of personal weakness, but rather a natural and essential part of the human experience. It reminds us that we're alive, and that we have something to protect. In those moments of uncertainty, no matter how prepared I might feel or how many survival skills I've armed myself with, I find myself wrestling with haunting questions. Am I built for this? Am I enough for the challenges that lie ahead? Then, just as suddenly as it descends, the storm passes simply because I chose to stay put. By holding my ground against the storm of my thoughts and emotions, and refusing to give in to the urge to run from my fears, I discovered a deep strength that had been dormant within me, waiting for this opportunity to reveal itself. Maybe it's not about conquering fear completely and casting it aside once and for all. It's about learning to coexist with it, to accept it as part of the journey. We must learn to stand taller in its presence, meeting it head on and refusing to be overwhelmed by it. Instead of letting fear define our actions, we step outside, confront it face to face, and continue our journey, even when our voices tremble and our spirits dip to their lowest points. It can be an indicator of growth. I came out here for peace, to be surrounded by something bigger than myself. But I won't lie, I almost let fear convince me to stay away from here. But perhaps what I truly needed was proof. Proof that when the going gets tough, when challenges peak and courage is in short supply, I don't back down, I rise up. Because rising up isn't a single moment, it's a practice. A choice we make again and again, even when it's hard. And maybe that's what strength really is. Not fearlessness, but persistence, presence, and the quiet resolve to face the unknown. Out here, I found that courage isn't about erasing fear. It's about standing with it quietly and choosing to move forward anyway.